So just, yeah, we said at APHRC that our ambition is leading towards impact in Africa. So not just generating knowledge for knowledge, but leading towards impact. Making sure that what we are doing is generating impact. It's responding to the question, so why? Not just we've done articles, but so why at the end. We pride ourselves to be a premier research to policy organization. And our work is generating evidence, but also strengthening research and related capacity, and at the same time making sure that we engage policy to inform action on health and development. Our work, of course, is grounded and anchored into the different continental frameworks, in particular Agenda 2063. And also we work through multidisciplinary teams in ensuring that we can engage regional economic communities, legislators, policymakers, CSOs, and development organizations. So like I said, we are proudly African. So African founded, but African-led international research and policy organization. And our headquarters is here in Nairobi, but we have a regional office in Dakar in Senegal for West Africa. So basically, we have three major programs: research and related capacity strengthening, and then the policy engagement and communications. We basically, some of our attributes, like I said, we have a continental mandate throughout Africa, and we have demonstrated successful business in terms of doing research, but also translating policy and strengthening capacity in the research ecosystem. We are well positioned as a catalyst. Our ED, our executive director, used to say, nobody asked us to play that catalyst role, but we decided we want to play that catalyst role. So we work, our mission is here. I will not just generate research and related capacity in the Africa R&D ecosystem and engaging policy to inform action on health and development. So, like I said, we are not just here to be here. We want to transform lives. That's our ambition, transforming lives in Africa through research. We do really have these values we call FIRE: fairness, integrity, respect, and integrity. So I've already said we have really a broad range of partners, whether state partners, non-state partners. We really have different levels of intervention at continental, regional, country, but also even local county level interventions. And right now our footprint is we are intervening in about 35 countries all over Africa, you can see. Of course, you can see most of our projects are in Kenya, so we are sometimes said to be too Kenya-centric. But of course, because we are based in Kenya, we do have projects all around, but you can see that most of our projects are still based in Kenya. We have 300 full-time staff, and then we have also some temporary staff, 150, so half of them are researchers, and about 80 PhD holders in the organization. So let me just come now to why we are here. We said and I like it, my predecessor talked about collective action. collective action for research translation. So let me suggest maybe three things. Let me suggest three things that I really think would be important or are important to foster collective action. When I first read the email from one of my colleagues, Nicholas, he said the aim is to foster critical collaboration between research, policy, and practice. And since he is a lawyer, when he uses words, I know he knows what it means. Not just collaboration, critical collaboration. So I think the main thing to really foster collective action, the very first thing is why are we doing that? The purpose. What is our purpose? I always tell you, it's not partnership or collective action doesn't start with the partners. It doesn't start with the MOU or the contract. It starts with why. What is our purpose? What is the unique thing that together researchers and policymakers can do that the world out there needs to be better? What is that specific thing? What's that unique contribution that together we can do? What is that thing that we can relate to what keeps people up at night? What is it? How do we respond to what is keeping people up at night? And what is really making them to get up in the morning? What's that thing? So start with the why. Like Simon Sinek said, always start with the why. What is the purpose? Why are we doing the research? Why do we need to come together? What is the main challenge? What is the main need out there that we are responding to? Unless we are clear about that purpose, it becomes very difficult. We can come together, we can have nice time together, but at the end of the day, impact or research translation will be challenging. I've been quoting one article to my colleagues here, an article that came up a few weeks or a few months ago. Somebody who did some analysis and said that 80 to 83% of research resources are being wasted. Prof, right? Sorry. Yeah. 80 to 83% of research resources are being wasted because they are not being translated. They are not being used to change anything. They are just, we are speaking to each other, we are speaking among ourselves, but they are not being translated to transform anything in terms of the life of the people. That's huge. That's huge, 80 to 83%. Of course, we do a lot of stakeholder analysis in all of our engagement. That's one thing my team always say, let's start with stakeholder mapping. Say, okay, let's do that. But most of the time it's really in the position, how do we get to influence that guy, that stakeholder? Not in our collective, how do we work together as ecosystem partners, beyond just looking at the other person as another stakeholder I want to influence. And that's why I said start with the purpose. Start with the why. Why do we need to collectively come together? And I used to tell my colleagues that sometimes we get to the wrong side of right. We try to solve the wrong problem. Trying to solve the wrong problem with our research, with our coming together, is sometimes part of the issue why research is not being translated. I know there are some football fans here. There are even Arsenal fans here, so that's fine. That's inclusivity, right? But there is a bigger club in UK, a much bigger club in UK, right, Ben? Huh? It's Arsenal. Come on, guys. Okay, there's a much bigger club in UK. The biggest club ever in the UK is called Manchester United. But let me tell you a story. Something happened with Manchester United in 2013 when Alex Ferguson retired. They brought another guy called David Moyes. That guy came in, and he thought he came in to fix something. This club had been the champions for the last five times in the last 7 years. They won the league. And the guy still came and thought he needed to fix everything. He needed a turnaround, started firing coaches, started firing all the team members. And then we know the story. I will not go into what is happening since then. So just it's important as a research and policy organization to start with why and to make sure that we are responding to the right question. What is it they need? What's the need there that we are responding to? Second thing, and I'll go quick on that one, is perception. I mean, we cannot talk together, we cannot collaborate, have that collective action without being able to listen to the other story. I mean, researchers have their own story, policymakers and communities, and nobody is listening to the other perspective. Maybe you've listened to Chimamanda's TED Talk about the danger of a single story. If you haven't, just go on YouTube and ask the danger of a single story. Chimamanda is a writer and author from Nigeria, and he talked about and sometimes I think that's what's happening between research, policy, and communities. Everybody has his story, and nobody is trying to listen to the other story. So everybody is so happy with his single story. Like I said, I mean, everybody is busy getting branded, and we are getting branded, constructing our own narrative, our own story, and we even fall in love with that story, with that narrative, and we forgot that it's a constructed story. Everyone, policymakers, researchers, everyone has a constructed story. So the next thing after starting with the why is being able to get the other perception, the other perspective, being able to sit down and listen to the other perspective. I think that's what somebody talked about, dialogue. So being able, and I can just, you can find out there is a study that was done by a professor at Harvard's Business School, Professor Reifer. What he did simply is he found out teams of people and gave everybody the same set of facts about a company, the same evidence about a company. But some people, you guys are going to act as the buyers. You guys act as the sellers. And I ask everyone, this is best practice. There's no best practice, right? At least in the policy field. Because somebody's best practice is somebody's yesterday practice, right? What we are saying today, best practice, is what somebody did yesterday and he's trying to improve on. So it could be a good practice, but listen to what is emerging. Emerging practice is different. What is happening? What is what are people's need? Like I said, this is a nice quote from Yoribera. Maybe those who don't follow baseball might not know him. But he said in theory, practice and theory are the same. In practice, they are different. In theory, practice and theory are the same. In practice, they are different, right? So sometimes I think it's important, like I said, sometimes not to try to win the wrong game. What's that? I mean, in the policy space, what is really lacking is really people being able to listen to what is emerging, not to copy and paste policies, because that's what is happening most of the time. This is a best practice. This is a nice policy that was done in the US, that was done in Europe, that was done in Botswana. Something was in Botswana, let's copy and paste. Even policymakers, even my team, right, sometimes, right? Bella, I'm not saying you are doing it. I said, even among ourselves, we sometimes think, okay, let's just, when we do policy analysis, we just look at what is good in Rwanda, let's copy paste it in Kenya. So I think that's the last thing I wanted to say, is that practice is important, because in policy making, there is what we call bounded implementability. Not what everything that you do somewhere that can be good practice that can be implemented in another place because of the context. Context is key. So I just wanted to end there by reminding us that as we are thinking of collective action, there are three ingredients. Purpose. Can we define, when we are engaging policymakers, researchers, communities, can we tell them the why? Second, can we be humble enough to listen to their perspective, to listen to their story, to understand their story? And third, can we have something practical, something that is not just theoretical, something that they can test, something that they can really check with reality? If we are able to do that, I think we can work together as a collective to take action for research translation. Thank you.
Some wonderful points there. So the question being asked by scientists is why? As journalists, nowadays our question is, so what? Right? So what's the benefit to the audience? Why should we cover that story? And therefore we should mix the why and the so what, and then we'll be able to have actionable research that can actually help communities. I would like to welcome on stage the Congress's chairperson. This is Professor Violet Nanyu. She's an associate professor at the Moi University. She's a leading behavioral and social science researcher at Aphrc, Kenya. She's a co-founder of Focus Projects and Research Organization Kenya. She trained in sociology in the USA, medical anthropology in Holland, and the global bioethics in Mexico, and is an elected fellow at the African Academy of Science, member of the WHO Technical Advisory Group, among many other accolades. A round of applause for this lady.
Thank you very much. As you've heard, my name is Violet Nanyu, and I work with Aphrc Research in Western Kenya and also with Moi University. I've been with Moi since 1996. My friends keep asking, kwani hujui kuandika application letter? You've been in the same place forever, but yeah. I think I want to confess, it's the research and the mentorship. The journey I started with some of my students has kept me there. So I have a few slides. Oops. All right. When I was told, the first time I heard about this event, I said, this is so important, we all need to come together. And so as my predecessors have said, I think it's all about you and I, it's a collective. And so ladies and gentlemen, I greet you this morning and I thank you for making time to come and hear of what the Radio Africa and the Star Held are proposing for our nation. An annual event that is going to help us come together and listen to one another. And as my friend Mamadou says, we bring our stories together to better the life for Wanjiko. So Aphrc, for those who may not know about it, we are mainly on the Western Zone. We've been there for a while, and our vision, quite similar to what APHRC is doing, is to be Kenyan-led, to meet the priority needs in our counties, and actually respond to the needs of Wanjiko real time. So you will find that our mission is to lead with care. We are implementation science type of researchers. So while we are doing the science, we are trying to inform care. If we are doing HIV work and we learn something new, we try to make sure that information feeds back to the in-charges of the facilities, even as we continue to do research. That's why you see people saying, we pride ourselves as saying it's Aphrc leading with care. And the founders of Aphrc are very passionate about that. Actually, when you write a grant and you say you want to do your research in Aphrc, they always ask, okay, you'll be doing research. What else will you do with the program for the patients and the communities where you're going to do the work you're going to do? Is there something you're going to do with the clinicians to enhance their work? Are you going to change patient flow in the A&C clinic? You know, we insist on leading with care apart from doing the research. So our mission is to lead with care, to partner with people. We have about more than 20 universities in North America working with us, and now we have new branches of Aphrc. We have Aphrc Nepal, Aphrc Mexico, and Aphrc Ghana. So, and all these Aphrc offshoots have come from Aphrc Kenya. So we are very proud to send some of these practices out there. Our values, as you can already guess, is collaboration. We really value coming together, putting our minds together, mutual respect, and one of the things we pride ourselves in trying to reduce inequities. So we try to make sure we go as far as we can within the communities, reaching marginalized populations and thinking about their needs while we are thinking about more of the general Wanjiko's needs across Western Zone where we work. We also try very hard to enhance infrastructure for research, the same way APHRC through the Qatar program and other programs, and a colleague from South Africa will be talking about Qatar. We are saying without Africanist scholars, yeah, it will always be helicopter research. Someone will come, they have to go back, yeah? So we have to build capacity of early career researchers in our own nation to understand how you go about doing research and informing the healthcare system and all the other development issues we have in our country. So one of the things we invest in is infrastructure when it comes to capacity building, but also things, whether it's biobanking and other things. And in my next slide, I can show you some of the things we've been doing. What we call the cause. We have the biobanks, the bioethics, enhancing people's understanding of bioethics in research and in other works within the clinics, enhancing the lab's capacities to do high-end research, including we are trying to go into the new frontiers of genomics and other things, making sure people understand qualitative and quantitative research and how to use that when you're investigating those whys and whos and what's going on, and making sure that the last one here, research can be translated into policy and practice, our new core. And my colleagues will be talking about it today. And we have all kinds of working groups, as you can see, to make sure we are addressing all areas of health matters, from mental health to pharmaceutical to public health, you name it. And all these have a lead who is Kenyan and a lead who is from North America. So we make sure there's always two helping lead. And for my case, I am leading the behavioral and social science one. I'm also responsible for the qualitative part, and I also support the bioethics. I'm a bioethicist. So looking at the grants, okay, we know there's been a big slice of cake that has disappeared recently in America, but a lot of our grants had come from NIH and also other sources, and you can see we've had at least over 1,500 publications in peer-reviewed journals. But has this, as my friend Mamadou says, has this touched the MOH system in any way? Those are the realities we are asking about. A lot of money has come to do research,